Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to one of my favorite shows on the TED Show, which is InvestorYOU. We talk all things investing, investors. It doesn't just have to be real property, real estate. It can be in startups and small businesses or in your community or in resources. And I have with me today my co-host with the most, the one and only Derek Carmichael. And today we have two special guests. They look alike. You think they're related? Absolutely. It's the one and only, and the two and only Alex and Anthony Quezada. They have a business in our world, in our crazy investor world. They've been doing it a long time, super successful, both great human beings, and they do a lot in the community and for the community. So welcome, gentlemen. How's everybody doing today?
Fantastic and amazing.
Doing great.
Good. All right, so
very good.
Let's get it rolling. Derek, we're gonna, for anybody who might not know you, have been under a rock for a while, tell them a little bit about you and what you do.
Hey guys, Derek Carmichael, hard money lender. Out here busting my butt trying to make Ted rich. That's what I do every day.
I like this thought process. I need about 100 of you, and then I'll just retire. Yes, Derek does all my hard money, and we work together really well. And we were blessed enough to serve. I've known Alex for a long time, but we were blessed enough to serve on a panel with Alex and Anthony recently. I think it was the Kazoo one with Hope Richards. We had a great time. So we're going to start with Alex. Alex, tell them a little bit about you. Give them a little 411 on your background and what it is that you do.
I've been a full-time real estate investor for 12 years. Right now, my main focus is self-storage. And so we're about to purchase our 12th self-storage facility in the last 3 years. But I got started in residential, and we still have a residential operation. Started wholesaling, buying and holding properties, rehabbing properties. I own some mobile home parks, apartment buildings, a little bit of everything here. My brother, Anthony, above me here, runs the day-to-day of our residential business, our wholesale operation. And so he's been with me for a long time, since he's been 18 years old, so about 10, 12 years also, where he's followed in my footsteps and kind of took all the stuff we've learned together and running the residential side of the business while I focus on self-storage and really building generational wealth for ourselves and for our investors.
Love it. And Anthony, is that a good, you can unmute yourself, Anthony. Is that a good description of what you do? You know, you tell us in your own words what it is you do. You're obviously the operations dude.
Yeah, definitely the operations. So I am the director of sales here for our team. So we mainly focus on our wholesale business. From all aspects, I handle all the acquisitions. So everything that we lock up under contract is mainly in other markets. We obviously do our main market, Central Florida, but we're from Orlando to Tampa to Jacksonville to Pensacola. We lock up houses in North Carolina in the Triad, Fayetteville, Raleigh, Charlotte, and then we're in other markets like Little Rock, Arkansas, Oklahoma City. We dabble in Atlanta, Georgia as well. So I train my guys on how to negotiate with homeowners over the phone and lock up contracts. And then we have our disposition department, which then sells the deals to our buyers. So we're always looking for new cash buyers, people like Carmichael, who have the buyers who are wanting to buy these properties so he can do the loans for them. And then we have our own transactions department that does all the TC work for all the in-between madness that goes on in your office.
Madness.
Speaking of the madness, when we were on the panel together, Anthony, I think it was you who said, I love my work. Like I thrive on being busy 24/7. Talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people look at you all because you've established it. You guys have built this business and they go, got it. They make it look so easy, but it's a lot of work. It's a 24/7 occupation, right?
Yeah, 100%. I live for it. I like the hustle. I'm not the kind of guy that can just sit back, check emails. I like to be in it, I guess is the best way to say it. Like right before this, like I was like 30 seconds late. I was just talking to a homeowner, helping one of my guys out, just trying to lock up a deal. So it's like, I'm the one of those guys that you still can't get me off the phones. It's part of my blood. I like being in the trenches, and that's kind of how me and Alex were always able to separate. He was always the visionary looking up for our benefits or generational wealth, and I was more the guy being the hustler per se.
I like both of that. Hustling is good. I think a lot of people, again, take it for granted that they don't want to put the work in, or if they do, they dabble a little bit in it and then they pull out. Talk about being the visionary, Alex, because I've known you the longest, and that's really where I kind of found out about you. You're such a great speaker. Anthony is too, but you really go out there and profess the vision of what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. So, obviously when we first got started, me and Anthony putting in the hours, putting in the work a lot. But obviously I saw greater opportunities of like where we can be and building the team out and, really replacing ourselves. And, we're continually looking to do that, hire new talent, create new leaders in our team. So that way we can replace ourselves so we can do bigger and better and grow our companies. And so, we've had talks of, in the future going towards, doing all commercials soon and like having that whole room that Anthony runs be commercial. So there's definitely a vision for bigger and better. We're right now looking to replicate what we built on that wholesale side that runs pretty smooth, although there are always hiccups and things going on. But, we're trying to replicate that to the commercial side right now to build and take down as many as many self-storage facilities and commercial properties as we do with the single family. So kind of just replicating the machine we created over here into this different asset classes. So we can look to acquire this year $50 million in commercial assets.
I love that. But let me ask you before we get into the market, because I want to talk about the market and what you see, and I want to talk a little bit about self-storage because you talked about that on the panel as well. Generational wealth, that's a big new term. Well, at least I feel like everybody's using that term. What does that mean to you guys? What are you doing? What are you creating? Talk about because we have financial planners to talk about generational wealth, and we have all of these people out there spouting out that word. And I know you can talk about it because you've talked about it before. So tell us.
Yeah. So, one thing my brother and I have done is like retire our parents and make sure like they're good and covered. But looking to set up our downline, our children's children for the future of like, not essentially for me in my eyes, like not having them have to, do something for money, but like go after whatever they want to do, whether it's doing music or art or whatever it is, but they'll always have a foundation of like knowing our business, and we'll have to educate them on that and have properties and assets that create this passive income that allows them to live just off essentially passive income. And so by doing that, a lot of people have like family offices. So that'd be something that we would like to have where when you can achieve and have, $100 million and just live off the interest, I think that's like for me, the definition of generational wealth, where you can have a safe, the nest egg that produces so much income off just the interest that's all you ever have to live off of. And then my kids' kids and Anthony's kids can benefit from all that and realize, what we have done to, provide that for them.
I love that you retired your parents. Anytime you want to retire Uncle Ted, please let me know. I'm in it to win. All right, so let's talk about the market. Anthony, I'll ask you. I know your operations, so talk from that perspective. Then Alex and Derek, you guys can talk from yours. But tell us about the market right now. We're hearing a lot of nobody's really sure what's going on, but they're never really sure what's going on, I feel like. What's the market for you like as far as the operations go?
Anthony, you go first. Yeah.
Yeah, I can start first. And I'll kind of give you my side. My perspective from my side is going to be with cash investors, guys who are trying to build a portfolio, flip properties, or be a landlord. So everybody's always going to have different opinions, but what I'm seeing on my side is, a year or two ago, everything was hedge funds. So wholesalers were making a killing because big banks were buying properties at 90 cents on the dollar. What I'm seeing now from the people who weren't these big banks, the regular investors, they're a little bit more cautious. I think with COVID, originally, everybody really stopped for like a good couple months, and then the big people strived, and they're like, oh, COVID's really not a big issue for us. And then now with this new transition with the market, where properties are taking a little bit longer to sell, our buyers they're not slowing down, but they're making sure the numbers are better. So it's like, and they're trying to stay away from high ARVs with like the after repair value. So the homes that are going for like $500,000 and up, unless you're giving them at like a home run price, they don't want to take that on because they're like, hey, if this is going to sit on the market for 60, 90, 120 days, I got hard costs involved. So I want to make sure I have enough cushion. What I am seeing is things that are sub 300s fly off the shelves because they're in and out, 1,000 square foot homes, easy cosmetic rehabs. There's no marble. It's just in and out. Landlords are still buying with companies like Pad Split. They're kind of help zhuzhing the market up for people to get a little bit more creative, since it seems like the Airbnb guys are kind of out, these short-term rentals. So everyone's kind of going to Pad Split. So we've been leaning more towards lower purchase price homes, like lower middle class neighborhoods. We're not selling the super nice luxury houses as much as we used to. But for us, people are still actively buying. They want a little bit more cushion. But right now we're gearing more towards landlords who are a little bit more creative than typical house flippers. And the house flippers are just coming in a little bit lower. But with our company, with wholesale, we just try to get that feedback from buyers and adjust to what they like.
Are you seeing the same thing? What's your perspective, Alex? Thanks, Anthony.
So I agree with everything Anthony said. Dealing with self-storage, it's a little bit different. So right now, I think we've been picking up a lot of deals. I think as of Friday, which was like the 15th, we picked up like 23 wholesale contracts. We contracted 23 houses. And so I think there's a lot of people hurting in the market and are willing to sell because they have a problem or a problem property. And so when you have, those kind of situations, those are the people that typically are going to sell their house. The person who has, a 2%, 3% mortgage and everything's fine, and maybe they have it rented out or whatever it may be, they don't need to sell. But the people who actually need to sell will sell because they have issues going on in their lives and they have to, sell for whatever reason. For self-storage, there's not as much pain that these sellers have. And so it takes a little bit, most of the people I've purchased self-storage from have been like people retiring. And those are like kind of like my avatar, the mom and pops, because there's not pain in the marketplace. Essentially, things are really well in the self-storage business. Demands was an all-time high. Rates were at an all-time high. Now they have come down some, but essentially it's still a really good asset class that is recession resistant. And so even in a down market, self-storage does very well. And so it's not like, sellers are so motivated to sell in this asset class. So it's really just falling up. And a lot of times they're still wanting, last year's or 2 years ago prices, even though interest rates are much higher. And so the interest rates is really the factor for us because you have to have that delta between what the cap rate is and what we can make it be so we can actually make money on some of these add value opportunities. So, but I was just at a mastermind where they talked a lot about the economy and what's going on. And, with the interest rates being signaled that they're going to be going down this coming year, every point going down brings 5 million homeowners to the marketplace. And so they still think there's going to be a recession and unemployment can go up. But even if 1 million people lose their jobs, there's going to be 5 million people more in an opportunity to buy. And the gap between, their current interest rate and the interest rate that's going to be, a point down, so probably about a 6, there's going to be more people willing to sell their home and move up because they got so much equity in those homes.
So true. Well, before I ask Derek his thought process and what he sees in the market, I have to ask you, Alex, did you stumble into the self-storage niche? How did that come into play? Because you talk about it a lot, and I have never heard anybody else talk about it like you do.
I went to an event a while back. It was actually May in 2017, where it was like everybody was pitching whatever thing they're selling, multifamily, self-storage. And I was actually in a multifamily room, walked out of that room. I bought that course. And then I walked into a room where this guy was finishing up his pitch in the self-storage. And I was like, $3,000. I only caught the end of it. I was like, $3,000. That sounds good. I'll buy that one too. I bought it and learned, read the book and went to the first course, but I didn't do anything until my business. I focused on my wholesale business, made sure that was running without me. When I picked that book back up and went full force into self-storage because I knew it was a great asset class.
So good. See, that's what you have to do. You have to learn. You have to go to these things. And and expand your horizons. All right, Derek, what about you? What are you seeing on your end of things?
Absolutely. So I agree with the Quezadas. The loans that I'm writing right now, like I said before, it's a lot of refi cash outs, guys that got into flips that are going to hold on to the property. A lot of them are doing short-term rental, but specifically nightly rentals. And in my own business, so in the last 2 weeks, I've probably analyzed 3 flips that I'm direct to the seller on. So there is no wholesaler, right? And even for me, man, the moment the ARV's north of 450, I'm getting real conservative. So Anthony was absolutely correct. Like, I have one right now in Audubon Park. It's still on the hook. I made an offer at like 300, but I believe my resale value was 550 all day. I was going to take a chance on that one because the spread is super nice. My rehab is probably about, call it 70 grand. So I'm like, you know what? This is worth the headache. Plus it's Audubon Park. If you're from here, you know that that's a 30-day close all day, right? That's between contract and sell. But they came back at 400. I'm like, I'm not doing it. There's no way I'm buying a property in this market at 400 with a resale value of 550, and then anything can happen. So I think you have to be conservative in this time. Flips don't stop. The deals don't stop. Like Anthony and Alex said, you position yourself correctly, make the right numbers, make your numbers work that way on a conservative note, and you'll be all right. So, and that's what's worked for me all year. So I can't complain about it. You know what I mean? Like we said earlier, I'm seeing money come in. It might not be where I wanted it to be this year, but 2024 is going to be a really great one for any investors that understand how to play the ball.
I agree. I hesitate sometimes to say 2020 something is going to be a good year because I was all about that New Year's Eve 2019, and then what the hell happened? Although that was a phenomenal year for me on the lending side, I was busier than ever until mid-20, even 2021 was so good. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel good about 2024. Yeah. One last question, and anybody can take that, or all three of you can take it. If there's somebody who's watching who says, I'd really like to learn more. I'd really like to find out more. They could Google it, right? But then who knows who they're going to get, where they're going to go. Do you all have a tried and true resource that you might send people to? Do you offer classes? Do you recommend classes or books or anything like that? And I'll let all of you take it if you want it. Who wants to go first?
So there's a couple local, every city pretty much has like a real estate investment association. So I think that's a good place to start with. And you just feel like whatever city you're in, if you're in Atlanta Real Estate Investment Association, and find out those meetings. Sometimes there might be 2 of them, and go to those events. A lot of times they'll let you go to the first one for free. But usually it's like $100, $200 for an entire year to just be in that group. And then there's always these meetings and sub meetings, and that's where you can go and meet and see and find the people who are actually doing business in these rooms. There'll be hard money lenders, there'll be other wholesalers, there'll be contractors. So you want to connect with everybody and just kind of, if you're getting started, obviously the problem with real estate is there's so many things you can do in this business. So you really want to find out what do you like? What do you connect with? Do you want to be a realtor? Do you want to be a wholesaler or a rehab or a landlord? And a little bit depends on, maybe your income or your time you have available. But I would talk to those folks, get some information, make connections, build your network, and just kind of see what's interesting to you, and then dive deep in that avenue. So whether it's self-storage or multifamily or wholesaling, find those people who are doing that around you and get as close to them as possible, and even go work for them if you can, offer your services to work with that person. Everybody sees on Instagram, like everybody killing it and crushing it. But if you can actually just, take the time and focus and learn first, then you can have all that success you see in the future.
Agreed. How about you, Anthony?
Yeah, from my aspect, with most of the people I deal with or like even train and mentor, it's if you're trying to get into wholesale, it's sales and marketing. The whole wholesale industry has shifted from handshake, belly to belly sales, sending a seller a postcard, to now cold calling and locking deals up over the phone. So for us, there was a big switch after like year 5 with me and Alex, where when we grew our team, that we had to learn sales, like proper sales techniques. So people I recommend, there's the Alex Hermosis. You can find them, most of these guys on YouTube, Jeremy Miners, Bradley, these guys that will give you like free training schools. I also offer training as well. So people can always DM me if they're looking for advice, help negotiating with the seller. And then I also do like free webinars. I have one coming up on the 21st as well. And where it's like sales tips and tricks, like how to understand tactical empathy to help your clients open up more and use that as a tool to close the deal. So things like that. And then obviously marketing, where to spend your money, if cold call is working, is SMS working, is direct mail working, and how we utilize those tools to lock up more properties.
So good. I love tactical empathy. I'm going to remember that one. How about you, Derek?
Yeah. The best thing I ever did was go work for those doing what I wanted to do. I tell people all the time, having been at his capital and under Rick Malario, everything he taught me to this day, I still use, have the mentors and pick their brains. Buy a mistake if you need to, but just get your hands in there. I'm very hands-on, so I have to be in the room. I have to be listening, get with Anthony and get on his podcast, get on those, those teachings and just listen, repeat, play them, take notes, humble yourself. That's the best thing I ever did.
Agreed. I think figuring out where your niche is, but you can't just pick that and think that's it. You really do have to educate yourself. You have to get out. You have to go to those CFRI like meetings and join those groups and get involved. And I recommend you never just go with the first thing. You have to really kind of meet people, get a feel for them, meet one-on-one, break bread with them and follow them and listen to what they're putting out there on social media. Because as we talk about on the show all the time, social media is really amazing, but there's also a lot of fake-ish out there. And so you have to be able to maneuver through it. And you have to be able to figure out what's right for you. And you can't just do that on a first try, my opinion. You really have to get into it. So I suggest you follow the Quezadas, follow Derek, follow me. I'm going to get with Anthony and have him message me those people that he mentioned, because I'd like to put those in the comments below. But thank you, gentlemen, for being on. What an amazing show. I appreciate it. Tell them the best way that they can find you, Alex.
So on Instagram and YouTube, that's my tag there, alex.theinvestor.quezada. And for all social media channels, you can reach out to me and I'll respond to you.
How about you, Anthony?
Yep. Same thing. You can always DM me on Instagram, Q the Closer. You can also reach out to me at qthecloser.com if you want any sales training materials or anything like that. And my social media has everything, my free webinars that I host, etc.
Awesome. And how about you, Derek?
You guys already know Mr. Carmichael on Instagram. DM me and I'll hit you back.
You guys know how to find me anywhere and everywhere. Linktree, but I do have my mortgage website scrolling across the bottom there. But you can find me on social media. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Alex and Anthony, you guys give back so much to the community, guys. And you are mentors, and I really, really do appreciate what you do and coming on the show and sharing your knowledge with my audience, our audience. Thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all of you. Yes. And go reach out to them. They're just as amazing in person and on the DM as they are on the show. So thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys.